All right, welcome, welcome. We're already up to 40 participants. Keep it going. That's great to see everybody. Make sure you go out to the chat box and sign in.
This message brought to you by the United States Coast Guard. For more information, visit www.uscgvoting.org.
Looks like Nate is here, Shelly. So,
Oh, perfect. My partner.
your partner in crime. That is perfect. Welcome, everybody. Happy Thursday. Please make sure you go out to the chat box and sign in. If you're a guest, let us know who you are a guest of. And if you're a visiting Rotarian, let us know what club you're from, and welcome.
I'm muted.
And then, you know, you may want to go out and mute your camera or mute your microphone. You don't have to mute your camera. But
Hello, Barb. Bernie.
hey, Bernie.
Is my sign in coming through?
Let me see. There's quite a list here. But I can make sure you're in the list, right?
Okay.
Now.
Thank you.
Barb, I think you need to remind people they have to hit enter.
Got it. So just in case, remember when you open up the chat box, you'll see it to the side and there's a place where it says type message here. So if you would, you can go to that box, type your name in, and then you can hit enter on your keyboard and that will enter your name. And that way I have it for your attendance.
This is Anna. I should also note that I just entered my attendance to John Colshaw. So so John knows I'm here. Thanks, John. But you also want to make sure that you're sending the message to everyone, just in case, you know, you just managed to send that to John Colshaw. So there you go.
You know, you better watch out, Anna, because I'm going to make you start doing the Zoom tips pretty soon. So,
here's some real dumb things.
All right. So I'm trying to catch some of the people, but just remember to mute your microphone if you can. That would be great. Justin, glad to see you joining us. That's great.
If John Colshaw is on, John, I just want you to know I'm also in attendance.
Great. Now I'm going to be spammed with attendance stuff for the next hour.
Right.
You weren't planning on speaking today, were you, John?
No.
Oh, yes. Perfect.
But when
Happy Thursday.
go ahead. Go ahead, Barb, as we usually do.
Make sure you all sign in into chat box, please.
We'll begin the meeting in about 2 minutes, about 12:03. Barb, are you able to see, is District Governor Erna Morain on with us yet?
Yes, she is.
Wonderful. Erna, welcome, and we'll look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. For now, I'm still in Amsterdam, but I'll change that in a little bit. I'm zooming into Iowa City. So.
Wonderful.
Hello.
Perfect.
Speak about.
Welcome, everybody. Just remember to go into the chat box and enter your attendance. If you can, please mute your microphone. I'm trying to catch the ones that I haven't.
All right, I've got 12:03 as the time, and as we always do, we begin our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. So it's not always perfect the way this comes through via Zoom, but we always do this anyway. So if you're able, please join me in standing. We'll begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. You may be seated. All right. Well, I know people are still logging in and joining us. Welcome to everyone that's just joining us for our Zoom today. My name is Jim Conard. I am our club president this year. And I'm excited that we continue to have increasing participation in our Zoom meetings. As we always say, it's much, much better to be able to meet in person. We sure miss seeing everyone in person and enjoying lunch together. But again, we're pleased that these Zoom meetings seem to be going well, and participation numbers have been outstanding. So thanks to everyone that's joining us. Our attendance today will be especially high. We've got an outstanding meeting that's going to take place today, a presentation coming up in a little bit that you certainly are looking forward to. So without further ado, we'll begin the meeting. Barb, I'd like to have you start the meeting as we normally do with just a few Zoom tips. We've been doing this for a couple of months now. Maybe we're already Zoom experts, Barb, I don't know. But if you have any tips for us, please share.
You bet. As everybody knows, make sure you go to the chat box and enter your name for your attendance. If you're a visiting Rotarian, let us know where you're from. And if you're a guest, list who you are a guest of. If you look in your screen, if you're on a computer, it is in your upper right corner. I believe if you're on an iPad, it's the opposite. But there is a little place where it says Gallery View and Speaker View. So we highly recommend that you go to Speaker View for the majority of our meeting, because that way you will see a larger image of the person who is speaking rather than all of the little photos or videos of our members. In addition, at the bottom of your screen, there is a button that's called Participants. And if you click on that, you will see there's another button that says Raise Hand. And we will use that button if you have announcements, as well as for introductions and for any questions for our speakers. Now, lastly, we are going to try something new today, okay? So everybody get your little Zoom heads on. We're going to try a new feature. Bit by bit, we're going to do this. I want to give you a poll, okay? So on your screen, you should see a poll, and you should be able to either click with your mouse or on an iPad with your finger. And I want you to go out there and I want you to vote in our poll. I'm going to give you just a little bit more time. Do you see it there? Do you see? And make sure you hit submit at the end if it asks you to submit. And we will see what percentage of our members think Jim Conard should grow a mustache. Okay, so this is just a new little feature. Bit by bit, we're all going to become Zoom experts, whether you like it or not. And this is a new feature for some of you, so I just want you to kind of take that glance, okay? So
How many times can we vote?
Pardon?
How many times can we vote?
Hopefully just once. You are a Rotarian, so do the right thing there. Okay.
Who approved this poll, Barb?
Well, let's see. I would say it would be. So here are our results, okay? 66% of our club says that Jim Conard should grow a mustache, okay? So
I'll take that under advisement. I have trouble growing any kind of hair, so it could be a challenge. But thanks for the fun there, Barb. I appreciate it.
You bet.
All right. Well, it's nice to know we can conduct those polls here. So I'm assuming that our next poll will be something more Rotary related, not about my mustache, but we'll see. All right. Well, thank you, Barb. I want to next introduce guests and visiting Rotarians. If you are a guest of the club or a visiting Rotarian, click the raise hand feature, and Barb will call on you. And all we'd like you to be able to do is just say your name, and if you're a visiting Rotarian, which club you're from, or if you're a guest of a member, just say which member you're a guest of. I'd like to begin by introducing, as our guest today, one of our guests, District Governor Erna Morain. Now, Erna is going to speak later. This isn't the part of the meeting where she's going to speak, but Erna, I would like you to just feel free to address the club by saying any updates you have from District 6000, or also how are other clubs doing with their Zoom meetings? Erna, how are you?
I am great. Thank you so much. Yes, I think I have several speaking opportunities in your club today. And then when I'm done with that, I need to zoom out and visit some other clubs. So it is going very well. Clubs are all, not all, most of them are using the virtual communication. Some of them are now back in using both. So they, for instance, my club this morning, they did both Zoom and in person. There are clubs that are doing all in person again. Some of the smaller clubs that I've been to, like Bloomfield, they met all in person again. But they all realized how they can use this virtual communication to get good speakers, to maybe have their committees meet in an easier way. So I think that's been very, very beneficial. As far as the really good news is that thanks to all of you who stepped up and made it possible, we have raised now almost enough money for 500,000 meals for those who need it. Now that's a lot of meals, and that's thanks to the Food Bank of Iowa that they can provide the 4 meals for $1. But everybody in Iowa City, Ames, everywhere we have Rotary clubs, they will be able to get and benefit from it. So that's really, really good news. And then we have the Denison Club. We have been working with that for as long as I've been governor this year, and may have even started prior to that. And we have the okay now from Rotary International that Denison is joining District 6000. So we're super excited about that. That's our 66th club. So we are growing, except not during my year. It starts July 1st. So, but I'm happy to see that. So thank you for that time. I like to be brief with those updates, and I look forward to see who is in your club and who is a guest today. So
Great. Well,
and I did like the poll, and I am not for a mustache. Okay, so whatever this poll says, don't listen to it.
Well, I'm with you, and I think my wife would have 100 votes. So now the vote is probably no. So there, we'll go with that. Thanks, Erna.
Okay.
Thanks for your leadership also of District 6000 this year. You've done a wonderful job. You've visited our club a number of times, and we sure appreciate your leadership. And thanks for joining us today. And we'll look forward to hearing from you here again in a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Barb, who else has raised their hand to introduce themselves as a guest or visiting Rotarian?
So we have a guest, Kim Casco. Kim, will you unmute your microphone and say hello?
Yes, hi everyone. Kim Casco with the Iowa City Area Business Partnership, and I'm a guest of Ryan Bell. Thanks, Ryan, for inviting me. And Jim, I am pro mustache.
Oh. I'm glad you only have one vote. Thanks, Kim.
And then I do believe that we have a few visiting Rotarians. And so I believe that Herb and Janice Wilson are with us. Herb and Janice, can you unmute your microphone and say hello to everyone? I think you're almost there. Let's see. Let me see if I can help them. I think you're good, Herb. Oh, well, unfortunately, I think Herb's microphone is not working. It looks like he's unmuted, but it is great to see you, Herb and Janice. We're really happy that you are here. Everyone wave. In addition, I do think we have a visiting Rotarian that we have Phil Peterson. Phil, would you like to say hello?
Hi, Phil Peterson from Iowa City AM. Glad to be here. And until you change the Zoom link, I'll probably keep coming.
We appreciate it, Phil. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to have you. And so I think that is all of the visitors and guests. Is there anybody else who would like to say hello that hasn't been able to raise their hand? Okay, I think that's it. Just a reminder to everyone, please go into the chat box and enter your name for attendance. Back to you, Jim.
Great, thank you, Barb. We'll move into announcements. We have a number of announcements queued up today. Let's start with Brad Baldus, has got an announcement about the Ronald McDonald House golf outing. Brad?
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
And you can see me this time? I was told last time I thought everybody could see me when I announced something and nobody could see me. So you can see me, okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give you an update as the chairperson of the Rotary sponsored Ronald McDonald House Golf Tournament Committee. And I'm gonna share my screen if I can get this to work. It's giving me options. Oh, that's screen recording. That's not what I want. Share content. Screen. Okay, Barb, I need help.
Okay. Do you see the little, when you do share screen, do you
Website.
see different images?
It says, it gives me multiple choices of what I want to share. My screen, my photos, my iCloud, website, bookmark.
Do you have your slide open?
I do.
Okay, can you click on that?
I have to move my,
If you click on the one you want to share, and then at the bottom right, it should say share.
yeah, it's giving me 6 specific choices, and website URL is what I put in, and then I got to type in the URL, which I don't know off the top of my head. So I think I'm going to get stuck here.
Okay, well, why don't you talk about it and let me see if, well, are you going to a web page?
Yes, and it's up on my iPad on another screen, but I just don't know how to get to that.
Which web page, Brad?
It's the Ronald McDonald House of Eastern Iowa and Western Illinois.
And it's for the families, that page?
Correct.
Okay, I can share it.
Excellent. I apologize for
That's okay. Is this it?
technological ineptitude.
Is that what you're looking for?
That's what I'm looking for. So, as hopefully everybody knows from Heather Crosskree's presentation, we had to change the date of our event this year from June 1st to September 28th. And there it is on the website. And I just wanted to emphasize, this has been a long-running, very beneficial event that Rotary has sponsored and helped to raise money for the Ronald McDonald House. You can see there 18 years, $800,000, and we intend to keep this going even in this difficult year. I think we've got about 50% of the normal golfers signed up at this point. So we definitely have room for more and would like more. And the registration is available right here at this link. Click here for 2020 golf registration, golf outing registration. There is a hard copy registration form that you can get if you're not comfortable doing the online by contacting the Ronald McDonald House. And if you are not a golfer, there are many other opportunities to support the Ronald McDonald House and represent our club. If you scroll back up a little bit, Barb. The first one is the volunteer opportunity, which is right there. There's a link for signing up to volunteer, which means show up on the day of the event and help out in one of multiple ways to carry off the event. You can also be a sponsor or donate, which is, I don't know that there's a link right there for sponsors, but at the bottom there is a donate link. And you can contact anybody on the committee or the Ronald McDonald House if you're interested in being a sponsor. They've got some of the businesses that we've already lined up for sponsorship this year listed. And something new this year is the click here to adopt a Ronald McDonald House program. If you can click on that, Barb. Yes, so this is a new idea thanks to Linda Farkas primarily, where if you would feel better about knowing exactly what your donation is going for or what it will cover, this is a perfect opportunity where we have 6 different programs at the house with a dollar amount attached to it, starting from $20 for a toy for a child, all the way up to, I think, $525 to cover 1 week stay for a whole family. And there's a variety in between there too. So again, anybody who's not a golfer but is interested in supporting our club, supporting the Ronald McDonald House, this is a perfect way to do it. Hopefully you think this is as appealing as we do to have some specifics attached to your financial donation. And again, this is on the Ronald McDonald House Eastern Iowa and Western Illinois website, which I will try to put the links on the chat box after we're done here, if I can figure that out. And that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Brad. Next, I'd like to go to Trish Smith with United Way. Trish, for the benefit of our District Governor Morain and for our other members, would you mind summarizing the numbers again for our club's meals effort that we've had in conjunction with United Way recently?
You betcha, Jim. Thanks so much. You know, once again, it was just an amazing effort by this Rotary Club to connect with the VA Hospital and Mercy Iowa City, as well as the Iowa City Free Lunch Program and Shelter House, to provide lunches for both our first line workers as well as some of our neighbors who are most vulnerable in our community. We provided over 600 lunches in about a 4-week time period by partnering with the local establishments of Big Grove and the Marriott, who we would normally be buying lunches at from our Rotary meetings. But since we're virtual, we wanted to kind of get a dual purpose out of this lift, and we were able to partner with them, supply with them some really necessary support during their time of struggle through COVID, but then also, again, to connect with so many people in our community. So our meal program was a huge success, but once again, thank you to the volunteers from Rotary who helped out with deliveries. And also a huge thank you to Barb, who was my partner in crime through this whole experience. We adjusted and made the necessary changes so that everybody could get what they needed on time with no glitches, and she was fantastic to help out with that. So super proud of that lift this year. When, you know, the world hands you those lemons, we certainly made a nice lemonade out of it and got that positive experience for everybody. If you're still looking for opportunities to volunteer, because food is still a very critical need in our community, many jobs are still not returning for many of our neighbors. We do have opportunities to volunteer through Table to Table. If you're interested in that, just visit the United Way website at unitedwayjwc.org. We're still doing the Mask Up program if you're interested in making masks for that. And then as our community begins to shift into this recovery mode after COVID, United Way is certainly supporting that whole effort and being a part of so many community projects, but we're also starting to turn towards our annual campaign. Now, I can't announce who the new chairs are, but we just completed our transition video supporting Bob and Sue Dvorsky as our chairs from last year, and we'll be introducing our chairs for this next year. And I will give you a little tease. They both are from our Iowa City Noon Rotary Club. So I'm so excited, but you're gonna have to wait. The video will be released this weekend once I finish that editing process. And then next weekend, or excuse me, next week in Rotary, we can congratulate them.
Thank you, Trish. So appreciate the connection between the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club and United Way. So thanks for all you do.
Thank you, Jim.
Barb, do we have hands raised for additional announcements?
I don't think we do. Is there anybody else out there that does have an announcement that they would like to make? We do. Ryan Bell has his hand raised. Ryan?
Hey guys, yeah, just on behalf of Kim, my guest today, I would like to just announce, because this ties into the Community Foundation as well, that the CLP application process has been extended a little bit due in some part to the coronavirus. They've extended that. So just a huge shout out to that program. I would strongly encourage anybody that has not been through CLP to give that a look, because it's the best way around to learn about your community and and just feel better about being an Iowa Cityan. So go check it out.
Great announcement, Ryan, and thank you very much. Second Ryan's recommendation. If anyone is interested in having more information about the Community Leadership Program, please check out the Iowa City Business Partnerships website, and or ask Brian or myself if you have any other questions. And of course, Kim Casco as well. Kim, again, thanks again for joining us today. Barb, any other announcements?
Nope, I think that's it. Back to you, Jim.
Okay. Great. At this time, I'd like to turn the program back to District Governor Erna Morain, who will give us today's Rotary moment of gratitude and positivity. Erna, I'll turn it back over to you.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself here. After the moment, can I also do my award presentation right away? Because I am running really, really late at my other meeting. So I really need to rush through this a little bit.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. When Devin called me and asked me if I could do the moment of inspiration and positively, I didn't really have to think about it. As you know, my year as district governor is quickly coming to an end, and I'm trying to virtually visit as many clubs as I can, which is an example today. I mean, I try to do 3 or 4 at a lunch hour, so it's very challenging. But why do I do it? Well, I like to hear the good news. With as much as is going on today, we need good news. And Rotarians, even during this pandemic, you inspire me with all your good works and all you're doing in your community, state, country, and around the world. It makes me really proud to be a Rotarian, and I sure hope that you feel the same way. We truly have connected the world with our actions. Water projects in the Philippines and Guatemala, well constructions in Tanzania, sanitation projects in South Africa, and I can go on and on. And at home in Iowa City, you have stepped up to do service above self by assisting those who need that extra help. So I know the challenges aren't over, but I believe that things will get better. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I know they will. So thank you so much for your service, Rotarians. I really appreciate it. That was my moment of inspiration. I hope you're all really, really inspired now.
Well, yes, we are. Thanks for that, Erna. I appreciate it. And you can just continue with your award presentation.
With the award presentation. Okay, well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here for a couple of minutes. I also saw that your Assistant Governor, Phil Peterson, is here today, and some very, very prominent guests. Of course, my Dutch friend Devin is in attendance. So hello, Devin. Goed om je te zien. I'm here today because I wanted to compliment you. I wanted to compliment President Jim for everything he has done to keep your club together, and for all of you members who make it possible to connect even when we are told like, oh, you can't meet anymore. Well, how can we do service above self when we can't meet anymore? We need to have a leader who will really do something for us. And President Jim, you stepped up to that plate and did what was necessary to do that. So thank you for that. I will have an award for you, just a simple award, but I hope maybe 5 years from now, you look back at it and you say, wow, you know, we did it, we made it possible. And it brings a smile to your face. So I asked you to think about maybe digital communication, social media, food insecurity. You did all of it. All of those things. And I didn't have the foresight. No, I cannot predict what's happening a month from now, 6 months from now. I don't know that. So, but you guys all stepped up, and thank you, President Jim, for doing that. I have another award, though, that I would like to present to Ryan Bell. Ryan, you stepped up this year. You get the Public Image Award. But really, I appreciated the story so much about the Rotary story. And I knew you were a storyteller when we met in Hamburg, but I didn't know that your writing skills were that good. It has gone over the world, all over the world. I know you've been published in many, many places. So thank you for doing that. I hope that all of you will be participating in the gavel passing on June 26th. I know you will do your own, but we try to set a record. It's going to be a fun event. It's an hour. It's a happy hour. Drinks are on the house, well, your house. But so please join us there. Information has been sent to the president and president-elects, but I will send out a message to the membership later this week. So again, thank you for your time. Congratulations. I'm sorry I have to bail out of here, but I have a 12:30 sharp at the Des Moines Club. And so I need to be there. Thank you for hosting me. I hope to come back sometime when I'm not governor anymore and have a little bit more leisure time to be around. So I'll give it back to Barb or Jim.
Well, thank you, Erna. I appreciate that. Thanks for our recognition that you've given to us. Ryan Bell's writing continues to be published. It was just published this week in the Corridor Business Journal, full page, which is a widely read local publication. So it's certainly been wonderful. Erna, thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we do have an induction today. New member, Mike Barnhart, is going to be introduced today as a new member. Ryan's sponsor is Devin Inman, who's not actually able to join us today. So in his place, Ryan Bell will tell us a few words about Mike. Ryan, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, so I got to have Mike have lunch with Mike at one of our last in-person meetings, so it's an honor to be able to induct him today. Mike is the CEO of Horizons, which is a family service alliance which services seniors, children, and families in Johnson, Iowa, Cedar, Lynn, and Washington counties, so he's covering a lot of ground. Currently, Horizons' largest involvement in Johnson County is overseeing Elder Services Meals on Wheels program, and that delivers hot meals to homebound seniors 5 days a week. He has been a servant leader in the community for over 25 years and seeks to innovate and find ways to improve all levels of service to those in need throughout the community. Whether it's research on the reduction of ER visits by seniors receiving Meals on Wheels, or a debt reduction and financial education program, Mike is leading the charge to improve the lot of those in need throughout the corridor. So thanks a lot for joining our club, Mike. I'll turn it back over to you, President Jim.
Well, thank you, Ryan. Mike, you've been approved for membership in this club because we believe you to be a worthy representative of your vocation. You're interested in the ideals of Rotary, and you're willing to do your share in translating these ideals into action. When you become a Rotarian, you are joining over 1.2 million Rotarians around the world and nearly 300 members of the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club. Fellow Rotary members here of the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club, please help me in giving a virtual round of applause for Mike joining our club. Welcome to you, Mike. Mike, we'll look forward to hearing from you during your opportunity to what we call Ride the Goat, which is your 3 minutes to tell us a little bit about yourself here at an upcoming meeting. But Mike, thanks for joining us and welcome to our club.
Thank you for having me. And I have to say, this is the best Zoom meeting I've ever been to. And I really mean that. You guys are doing a great job passing it back and forth. So thank you.
Wonderful, Mike. Again, welcome. Appreciate that. All right. Next, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Sarah Richardson. Sarah will be introducing our presenter today. Sarah?
Thank you very much, Jim. And I'm with Jen and you, no mustache.
All right. Good.
So I'm pleased to be here today. I am a member of the Community Foundation of Johnson County Board and the chair of the marketing committee. So my job is to share the good news of the Community Foundation, which is easy to do, but when I came on the board 5 years ago, I think the CFJC was hiding its light under a bushel. And luckily we've had some changes, and a significant part of our good news is bringing Shelly Maharry on as our executive director. Shelly joined the Community Foundation in May 2018, so she's just past 2 years, and she leads our organization, which has a mission to serve Johnson County in 3 ways: to help donors establish funds to help them support causes they care about, to serve the community as a convener and catalyst to help address Johnson County's most pressing issues, and to support our local nonprofits through endowment building and grant making. 2020 marks the Community Foundation's 20th anniversary. It's been quite a year so far. Since our inception, our funds have granted $19.2 million to Johnson County. Shelly will be joined by Nate Kaeding, who really needs no introduction, a highly decorated Hawkeye and NFL football player, a successful business person and philanthropist, and member of the Johnson County Community Foundation Board, among many other roles he plays in our city and community. Recently, Nate, in conjunction with Jamie Powers of Deluxe Bakery, initiated and has headed up the Food with Love project, which has distributed meals to those who are food insecure as a result of COVID-19. So he'll be joining Shelly and talking about that. Without further ado, I am absolutely delighted to introduce Shelly Maharry.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me join. I have to give Sarah such credit. Sarah was my sponsor almost 2 years ago now to join Rotary. I'm incredibly grateful for her bringing me on board. So it's such a pleasure to speak today to my fellow Rotarians about the work of the Community Foundation. You know, I often get asked, you know, what does the Community Foundation do exactly? And my short answer is that we are champions and advocates for charitable giving throughout Johnson County, no matter what the charitable interest is. And specifically today, I'm going to talk about that role that Sarah mentioned about being a convener and connector to address our county's most pressing issues. And there's no greater pressing issues than the things that we are experiencing right now in our community. And I look back in February, if we can all remember February, we held a fund holders meeting where we invited our fund holders and we talked about our investment performance and the outlook kind of for the year, and we're thinking about the things that we were looking forward to. And, you know, clearly we had no idea what we were about to experience. And one of those things to celebrate was looking ahead at our 20th anniversary coming up in 2020. And there are a number of Rotarians on this call today who are founders and were a part of our start 20 years ago. So it's such an honor to be fulfilling your legacy of support to the community through the Community Foundation. But as we look to our 20th anniversary, there's no better way to demonstrate our purpose of connecting those who care with those who need than through the work of the emergency response fund that we have at the Community Foundation. So just to give a recap of this fund, back in March, so the Community Foundation has always, we've had an emergency response fund established within the Community Foundation. And it was activated back in March, around March 16th, when we knew that our community and state and country were going to be impacted in such a great way by COVID-19. Our specific emergency response fund provides support, grant support, to nonprofits, schools, and units of government who were experiencing the impacts of COVID-19. Our board of directors came together quickly and designated $25,000 of funding to support that effort. And we also convened our grants committee together to create an application process for those nonprofits that was easy and efficient and low barrier, so that we could really have those nonprofit organizations focusing on their work at hand. So that work came together quite quickly. So within 1 week, we were out announcing that those grant application process was available. You know, the work of the Emergency Response Fund could not be described without partnerships and the collaborations that have come together. After we announced our fund, we had donor advised funds that have funds at the Community Foundation. So donors who said, I want to support this fund. Additionally, businesses such as Mid-American Energy, US Bank, United Iowa Financial came together to help raise money for for these efforts. And so I'm delighted to share that we also had other funders come together with us to support our community through the Emergency Response Fund. And specifically the Coralville Community Fund, they changed their granting strategy so that they could specifically focus on COVID recovery efforts within our community, as well as a giving organization called 522 for Good. They quickly came together and approached the Community Foundation to help review grant applications for organizations that we weren't able to fully fund their ask, but they could come alongside and fund. So they contributed their own $25,000 of support. So I'm so pleased to share that in total, we were able to grant in this phase, which I'm calling sort of the emergency phase, $199,891. And I'd just like to take a quick moment to run through the organizations that received that funding, not just to tout the awards that we granted, but just so that you remember and are aware and can keep these organizations in mind as you look to support charitable giving in our community. These are organizations doing incredible work in a very specific area of need in our community, and they should all be commended. So 4C's, Community Coordinated Childcare, the Antelope Lending Library, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Johnson County, the Center for Worker Justice of Eastern Iowa, Child Serve, Community Crisis Service and Food Bank, the Coralville Community Food Pantry, Domestic Violence Intervention Program, Film Scene, the Free Lunch Program, Horizons, a Family Service Alliance, Houses into Homes, I See Compassion, Iowa Children's Museum, the Iowa City Community School District Foundation, the Iowa City Fab Lab, the Iowa City Free Medical Clinic, the Iowa City Community School District free school-based health clinics, Iowa Legal Aid, Iowa Valley Habitat for Humanity, Johnson County Emergency Response Team, the North Liberty Community Pantry, Open Heartland, Orchestra Iowa, the Refugee and Immigrant Association, Riverside Theater, Salvation Army, Heartland Division, Shelter House, Solon Senior Support, Summer of the Arts, Systems Unlimited, Table to Table, the Englert Theater, the Housing Fellowship, and the United Way of Johnson and Washington counties. Our community would not be the same without their support. And so we're so honored to be able to help come alongside them to support their work during this situation. And another role that the Community Foundation has is really to be a flexible resource for charitable ideas, to give ideas life when there is a need. And we do that role in being a fiscal sponsor and champion for that work. And that's where the Food with Love project comes in. And so at this point, I think I would like to have Nate share his work with the Food with Love project.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shelly, and thanks everyone for having me. Jim, I was a yes on the mustache too, by the way. a firm yes. But no, as Shelly and Sarah mentioned, I'm a proud member of the Johnson County Community Foundation Board, and thinking back into February and March and those gray days as the COVID pandemic was kind of setting in on all of us as a local business owner and local community member and father of 4 young kids, you have all these kind of crazy thoughts running through your head about, safety of your family and the viability of your business and who's in need in and around our community. And that's really where this Food with Love idea was sort of born. I was in a meeting and Nikki Ross from Table to Table was talking about the need from a lot of our nonprofits like Shelter House and Salvation Army and the Domestic Violence Intervention Program for prepared meals. The food bank and all of our food banks in the area do an amazing job of providing, dry goods and those sort of foods, but there's a real need for people to eat, warm prepared meals that have, protein and vegetables and all those things that we all sort of take for granted. And what was happening at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic was that no one was feeling safe coming into those kitchens and preparing those meals for those folks in need within our community. And as I was kind of talking to some other folks in the community and business partners, this idea started to bubble up. We said, hey, we have all these restaurants, these sort of idle assets there and these amazing chefs that have been, shut down and we can't open, we can't operate. And they're just kind of sitting there twiddling their thumbs. Maybe we could play a part in that as a solution to that problem. So really, I think this was more than anything a story of community collaboration amongst a lot of different entities and organizations and people. My first call was to Shelly and Shirley with the Community Foundation, just asking, hey, we need a vehicle in place. Are there any ideas here where we can raise some money really quickly and be able to, at a really low cost, buy meals through the various restaurants that can then, support that effort, and then we can get these meals distributed out to the nonprofits on a daily basis because they have this need. And lo and behold, the Community Foundation has the ability to do that through creating this sort of fund, and we pulled that together. The City of Iowa City dedicated a staff person, Latasha Deloche, who runs the Senior Center for the City of Iowa City, and she really became our leader, our all-star, kind of our air traffic controller, and she managed all the coordinating between the nonprofits, what meals, what time of day, how many meals, what do those meals need to look like, and she then communicated that back to the participating restaurants. And the restaurants that were involved were 3 of them that I'm involved with as an investor and owner are St. Birch Tavern, Pullman Bar and Diner, and Big Grove Brewery. And then my good friend, Jamie Powers with Deluxe Bakery, was also a main component in this and was preparing a bunch of lunches as well. So we all kind of stepped up and Latasha helped coordinate that. She had my favorite quote during the process right at the beginning when everybody was kind of trying to tiptoe around the issue. She said, "Iowa nice has no place during a pandemic." So she cut out the BS pretty quick, and we got to work on getting this program done. And if you fast forward to today, we were able to raise I think somewhere between $65,000 and $70,000 through both private donors and corporate donors within the area. And we've been able to do just shy of 10,000 prepared meals over the last couple of months. So it's been I think a success. I think one of the great things now is there's some conversation around the community about using this sort of framework, to build off of this into the future where, when there's other needs to help prepared meals and help pair restaurants and their kitchens with that need around the community. And I will say too, I think one of the kind of most personally rewarding elements of the program was, if you can imagine being a 19, 20, 21-year-old, young professional working in a restaurant kitchen, or we have several of our chefs that are, have young families and people at home. If you can imagine putting yourself in their shoes back in March when, your business is shut down, the whole industry is sort of under fire. You've got all the uncertainty around your own personal safety about coming to work and cooking and all those sort of things. It was really neat to see their sort of fear and their anxiety transform once this program was introduced into our businesses. They were showing up at work each day with a new purpose, something tying them to the community, and really a reminder that there's people out there within our community that really needed their service. And I think there's, for all of us, there's nothing more important than knowing that we can be utilized and our unique skill set is needed within the community. So we all kind of played a part in just kind of collaborating and coordinating and really kind of connecting the dots, and really want to thank Shelly and Shirley and everyone with the Community Foundation for being really the main conduit between all these moving parts. And we're really happy to play a part in it. We're winding the program down here this week as our last week, as a lot of the nonprofits are kind of building their own capacity back up and getting ready to provide those services themselves like they had been prior to the pandemic. So we're excited to be there, and all the restaurants are getting back up and running. The outdoor seating is a big thing these days. So and we're kind of at the ready to help wherever we can going forward as well. So.
Thank you, Nate. And, I think that this project has also been, it's tested a concept. Forever now going forward, we know if there is an emergency need for food assistance due to some crisis, we have the infrastructure in place, thanks to Nate and thanks to Jamie, to deliver meals to those in need. So we'll be forever grateful for you. For that. And as part of the Better Together kind of committee that's kind of gotten together around Johnson County to support our recovery efforts, they'll be looking specifically at creating that permanent framework in place to keep that work going and ready when we would need to deploy that. So yeah, I'm very fortunate to be able to work with such visionary leaders at the Community Foundation. We appreciate that very much. So thank you, Nate. I'm just going to wrap up with a little bit of kind of what's next at the Community Foundation. I mean, obviously we know that the pandemic is not over. It's going to evolve and change, and we are all looking at each other in the community to help each other get through the situation. So we will be focusing on the nonprofit needs in our community more longer term. And in doing so, we've partnered with our great colleagues at the United Way of Johnson and Washington counties. We pushed out a survey to nonprofits asking for their feedback on what they see their needs are, concerns that they have. And so we'll be analyzing that information and sharing it back out into the community. But in general, the concerns have been decreased giving. We know that in a questionable economic climate, charitable giving will be impacted. Likewise, cancellation of events and ticketed venues. So that's an ongoing concern. Just not sure when that would be improved. And then a number of organizations have really highlighted through that survey that they don't have an operating reserve. They don't have savings in place. And so they're really hanging on by a thread. And so as we look at how the Community Foundation can come alongside organizations and support them, we'll be looking at that work as well. And also in recent weeks, there has been this call for inclusion, equity, and diversity within our community. And the Community Foundation seeks to be a champion in that work as well. So what's your role in all of this as Rotarians? Please know to support your favorite charity, no matter what the need, or your interests or cause. Giving support to your favorite nonprofit is needed now so much more than ever. And also know that the CARES Act stimulus package did provide some incentive for donors to give to nonprofits during this time. There's a $300 incentive for individuals and $600 for married filed jointly couples to give to charity. So do that. And then my final plug to you will be, if you have an organization like Community Foundation, which you love and support, an organization that has an unrestricted endowment fund, I'm going to give you a plug for why that's so important. We had no idea that this pandemic was coming, the impacts that it was going to have. And having an unrestricted endowment fund allows for that flexibility. So unrestricted doesn't mean spending free will. Unrestricted means meeting the needs at the time as they come about. And so for us as Community Foundation, having an unrestricted operating endowment and those funds available to be strategic and to be agile in the needs of the community allows us to do the work that we're doing. So consider leaving a legacy to an unrestricted endowment, because that will really help the community long term. So, and also that plug for the Community Leadership Program. I just wanted to also add, Kim's on our call here. The Community Foundation is honored to support 2 full tuition scholarships for minority students to be able to participate in that program. The Community Foundation, it was created out of an idea out of a community leadership program. And so as our 20th anniversary and our calling to serve the community, this is a great way to partner with our friends at the business partnership to make that happen. So we encourage that as well. And that's kind of, I think, where I'm going to leave it. And if there are questions that I can offer to try to answer, I'd be happy to do so.
Great. Shelly and Sarah and Nate, thanks for your presentation, and thanks for all the great work you're doing. We do have time for questions. So our preferred way of handling that is for Barb to recognize folks with questions that have clicked the raise hand button. So if you have a question for Shelly or Sarah or for Nate, please raise your hand and Barb will call on you. Barb, do we have any hands raised at this time?
As of this time, we don't. But Shelly, I do have a question. That tax benefit for people, I know that in the last year there were a lot of tax changes, and it made it harder to actually claim those deductions.
Yeah,
So outside of that, is this different?
It certainly is. For the average taxpayer, they're no longer itemizing because you're taking a standard deduction. This credit of $300 for individuals or $600 for couples filing jointly is really above and beyond that. So it's almost like a credit or an itemization that you get to take. So specifically for giving during this time. I've also heard of some legislation being proposed to actually increase that amount, which would be fantastic. But as of right now, that's where things are sitting.
Great, thank you. Does anyone else have a question that they would like to ask? Okay.
I think I'll just give one more plug. I made some notes that Jim Merchant wanted me to share, so I'd be remiss if I missed it. That the Community Foundation houses the fund that supports the Rotary Kerber Heart Safe Community CPR Training Initiative. And so there have been a number of Rotarians who have given generously to support that work, and so we're incredibly grateful for that as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again, Shelly, and thanks for all you do for our community. We sure appreciate your time today.
Great. Thanks so much.
You bet. Well, would like to just remind everyone to join us again next week. Next week is our annual Passing of the Gavel meeting, and there will also be some outstanding service awards that'll be given out to some folks that have gone above and beyond in their service to Rotary related to our club this year. And a kind of a review of our year. And Barb will also be providing comments looking forward as to what we can look forward to in the coming fiscal year for Rotary. So one of those meetings that we hope everyone attends. So please do plan to attend next week, and invite your friends that you have that are new Rotarians to join us as well. So Barb, do you have anything else to cover today, or did we get everything?
I think that is it, actually.
All right. Well, very good. Well, let's conclude our meeting with the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it fulfill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thanks to everyone that participated in our meeting today, and our meeting is adjourned. Have a great week.
Thanks, everybody.